Welcome to this new video. Today I'm gonna show you how to stop SRAM guide RE brakes from rubbing and making you slower. So yeah, let's get straight into the video. So the problem I had with my bike was that the pistons were pushed out too far inwards and I had to push them back outwards for them to stop rubbing. And another issue that might add up to that is having too much DOT fluid inside your brakes and not allowing the pistons to retract fully backwards to their original position. Today I'm going to be working on my rear brake because I already done my front brake and I'm going to show you guys how to do it with my rear brake. To fix this you will need a 5mm hex and then a 10 star bit and then also a 2mm hex. And also, just a reminder for this, if you want to do this, you will need to bleed the brakes afterwards. So I do recommend having a bleed kit if you want to ride afterwards, or if not, then bring this to your local bike shop and let them do it. And you might ask, what would actually make this work? Well, first of all, you need the piston separator for when you're doing the bleeds, and then what I did is just cut out a box of Tic Tacs, like just really thin, and then just basically what I do when you insert this into the pistons, you insert the Tic Tac box first and then separate them to their max distance, allowing them to the pistons to retract fully into their original position. First, what you want to do is unscrew the caliper from the mounting points. So yeah, let's do that. Now, after you've unscrewed the caliper, what you need to do is remember where the washers were. What I recommend doing is removing them and then putting it on and then putting like a bolt on top of the screw so none of the washers get loose. For example, like this. And now they're not loose and I don't have to worry about them. But also, if you do this, remember what position the washers go in and remember where to like separate them so like the fit on the washers is perfect. And yeah, you have to also do it on the other side so the caliper is free. After you've removed your caliper from the caliper thingies, you have to remove your disc, your pads. So this is, for example, this is a 2mm hex, so it's just a nice little unscrew. And then after you've unscrewed it, you have to remove the piston, like brake pads. So what you do on these ones specifically, you have to move the caliper, the brake pads back with your finger, this bit, and then pull it out by the end, and that's how you remove the brake pads from your SRAM Guide RE brakes. After you've got that done, I recommend grabbing a cloth and a bowl to catch the excess DOT fluid, and then put the cloth so it doesn't, like, the DOT fluid that's coming out doesn't touch the rotor and doesn't contaminate it, which mine is contaminated as I can see, but I will have to clean that later. So yeah, you put the cloth over the rotor like this so no liquid can go onto the rotor. Now that you have got that done, you have to insert this bit that separates the pistons, and if it doesn't fit, then I recommend already unscrewing the bleed port and inserting it after you insert the bleed port, or use a screwdriver to move the pistons a bit so they can move freely, and insert this bit inside of it. So now what you do is you grab the screwdriver or whatever with the 10 whatever fits in your bleed port, you unscrew the bleed port a bit so it lets fluid out, or for example let it fall on the ground, and then put it back on your hex, on your thingy. I recommend having it on your screwdriver like this bit so whenever you want to put it in, you can just grab the screwdriver and it goes in. So now what you do is grab the bleed thingy, you push it in and there's liquid coming out, and then you move it side to side to let all the fluid out, the excess fluid, and then after you feel like it's better, you screw it back in with your 10 hex, not like 6, anyways. And then after that, you remove this bit right here, and the pistons should be moved back more. But that's still not the perfect thing we want. that still won't stop it from rubbing. So I recommend just grabbing like a piece of plastic, whatever, cut it a bit, just so it fits in there, and then like stick it right next to there and stick it in, and that should be the space to allow it for the pistons to have enough space so it doesn't rub the disc. Now, as you can see, I've fit it in with the Tic Tac box, so now all the pistons are separated a lot. And I used a hammer for this to push in this bit, and actually a lot of fluid came out. So yeah, a bleed will be necessary after this. And what I normally do afterwards, I grab some isopropyl alcohol and just spray it under to remove any excess DOT fluid and clean the whole caliper. Now, after you finish this, I recommend bleeding them, but if you don't want to bleed them, you can just put the brake pads back in, just everything screwed back in, and then the brake should feel worse because you removed the liquid from them and the air might have gotten into the system. But what I personally just do now is bleed them with this and the plastic inside, so the pistons don't go back in the squished position, and that normally works. And let's see it at the end. I'll bleed it now and let's see what it looks like afterwards. Now that I've got that done, now the rear wheel can move freely without anything stopping it, which also makes you faster on the trails and makes you faster everywhere else. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. If you want any other tutorials or something, please don't hesitate to ask or send in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.